Davis Hill sat down in the chair opposite the consultant and wanted to stare at the picture of Yosemite on the wall. This was his fifth session with this person, and he was not feeling any better or seeing a real solution to his problem. Mr. Hill, what your wife did is without a doubt the most painful form of abuse that one spouse can inflict on another. I'd rather die than live through this. Hill looked at the painting again, wishing he could be there. You will have to decide whether you want to stay in the marriage or not. If not, then I will help you through it. But if so, then you will have to be kind, patient, and understanding of why she did what she did. He wasn't sure what Hill was looking for. He himself would have ended this relationship a long time ago, but he had an obligation to try to help the man save his marriage, if that was still what he wanted, which was becoming less and less likely with each passing week. I don't understand her. She says she loves us both and can't make a choice. If forced, she says she'll give up both of us. I guess I still want to try to work things out, but she spends quite a lot of time with him at his job. They even go on business trips together. I think he might be married, but I don't know. I've never seen him. She might be lying about all this, and he might be a different person altogether. The consultant noticed Hill's eyes piercing his picture and was glad he wasn't Superman. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a wall behind him. Of course, if the man were Superman instead of Clark Kent, his wife's lover would already be halfway to the moon. My wife says she's very confused and needs time. She doesn't tell me when she sees him or talks to him. I've always tried. I've always done everything so that she can advance in her career, but how long do I have to wait? I can't go on like this forever, and I'm not sure I still love her. Finally, the consultant thought, the man is starting to act. I see that all our documents are in order. You are getting a very good rate, 375%. I see that you have owned the house since 1995. She looked at her watch, hoping that he would hurry with the documents. It was almost 4, and she had a date for the evening. I bought it with my parents as an investment. I never thought I'd live there, but it was a very nice house. I have some things to work out, so refinancing is the only option. I'm sure everything will work out. And here's your check. Please sign here, here, and here. Hill walked out of Western Savings and Loan a few minutes before 4 o'clock with a cashier's check for $568,000. He would have preferred cash, but realized that was not possible. The next stop was Bank of America, where he closed all the accounts, taking another check for almost $700,000 and $5,000 in cash. He took his mobile phone out of his pocket. I have money, he told his sister Karen, who seemed to be the only friend he had ever had in his life, especially now. I'll be there, the nun said. Traffic is a little heavy. Give me another 10, 15 minutes. She said a prayer to her God, hoping he would understand. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. Sometimes, however, she needs a little help. Okay, thank you. He passed out and drove 3 miles to Torrance Savings. While waiting in the parking lot, he looked in the visor mirror, not wanting to look too gloomy, but he couldn't help himself. His wife had started this whole situation, and now he was simply doing his part to bring it to a less than satisfactory conclusion, but a conclusion nonetheless. He saw Karen's sister's Camry pull into the parking lot, locked his car, and entered the building. The nun, fingering the cross on her lapel as if seeking courage, approached the safeguard and checked in. She nodded to Davis, and he joined her as they entered the small room. Thank you, he said, handing her 2 envelopes. Sorry, Davis, I really am, she replied, handing him another key to the locker and waiting for the guard to take it and relock the locker in the vault. You hold it. Here is the document of power of attorney for this cell. Sister Karen looked at Davis, seeing the pain in his eyes. Dave, Don't say that, Karen. I know. Just, forget it. Thanks. Here. He handed her $2,000. Use them as needed. Call me, okay? I'll pray for you. And her. And whatever you decide. I'll call. It'll take a while. He was ashamed that he needed her help. The trust he had in her should have been for his wife, He made that mistake years ago. Just don't take too long, okay? She said, and raising the window, she left. Davis lay on the bed, looking at the dark ceiling. How many? He asked his wife, with whom he lived for 23 years. She seemed surprised by his question. A long silence passed. Christmas. Christmas. What was it? A gift for yourself? He tried to keep his voice steady, just like he'd promised the consultant, just like he'd promised Karen, just like he'd promised himself. It was very difficult. It wasn't. Yeah, it was just. I don't know. Something was just. Talking about it, she actually felt ashamed of what she had done to her husband. Not enough? He asked, wishing he was dead. More exciting? Maybe. There was sadness in her voice, and she felt caught between her husband and her lover, between heaven and hell. Here, in this room, on this bed, he felt his voice begin to rise. Yes, sorry, and she really was sorry. She just couldn't decide. Why couldn't she have both? Why couldn't he understand? She had wants and needs like everyone else. Oh, Jesus Christ, Stacy. Here, where do we sleep? Where do I sleep? Davis got out of bed and walked into the living room, shaking his head in disbelief. It was one thing to know this, it was another thing to know it. He went into the kitchen and pulled out the Southern Comfort and leftover cherry pie from the night before from the refrigerator. I've never drank, but things change, don't they? At least it's a good pie. He took a spoon and began to eat dessert. The morning sun found him still sitting at the kitchen table, his glass half empty and his pie eaten. Stacy didn't even bother checking to see if he was okay. He returned to the bedroom, got dressed and left, driving to his office. He had calls to make and people to see. Davis went back to the marriage counselor, more for his own needs than hers. It was difficult for him to accept what the man was telling him, forgiveness. He still wasn't sure if he would do anything more than he had already done, but he needed to exhaust all possibilities, at least for himself. Thank God the twins both graduated from college, one in the Army and the other in medical school. My daughter, Lieutenant. He never thought he would say something like that. Davis. Oh, I might have been thinking for a moment. He'll return to looking at the painting. People have affairs because their needs aren't being met at home, so they look for a lover who will. Love Your Wife's nickname does something for her that makes her feel so good that she is willing to sacrifice the happiness of her children, her family, and you to get it. What is he doing for her that is so important? What is he giving her that you didn't? Can you change to meet this need? Of course, that's if you want to try to save your marriage. Probably pretty damn good in bed. I don't know. I don't understand her anymore. I don't know what else I can do or what he's doing that I haven't done. She refuses to say anything. Maybe it's just sex, but it's still a betrayal of everything we promised each other. Hill gripped the armrests of his chair, his fingers white enough to hurt. You both meet different needs. That's why she can't decide what to do. She says she loves you, and that may be true, especially if she continued to sleep with you. You meet some of her important needs for safety, companionship, and shelter, and he's probably all about sex, but neither you nor her lover are meeting enough of her needs for her to settle on one of you. If you can do what this other man is doing, the conflict will be over and your family will be over. Will be safe. If I still want her back. If you still want her back. Davis remembered 8 months ago when he went for a routine annual checkup. A week later, the clinic called asking him to come back, and the doctor told him he had a disease that was transmitted through sex. This is some kind of mistake, he told her. This is impossible. She looked at him and quietly asked, Davis, are you sure? You. I don't like this, she silently cursed. I can see that he is innocent just by looking at him. Never, he told her. I don't do that. Ah, damn. No chance it's from the toilet seat, he tried to laugh, but he knew he was going to cry. It suddenly hurt so much. Well, we need to start a course of penicillin today. I see that you are not allergic to it. If you have a reaction, it will happen within a few hours. Chills, maybe a fever, just tired. I'd like you to stay here in the reception area until... She looked at her watch. Let's say until 3 o'clock, and I'll check on you again. I want to see you in 3 months to be sure, and maybe in another 3 months. No mistake, right? He asked, grabbing onto something, anything. No, I can repeat the test, but I usually do it twice if it's positive in 2 different labs. You need to talk to your wife. Huh? Oh yeah, sure. I'll talk to her. Damn thing. The next day, Davis called his sister Karen, and they talked for several hours. Davis decided he would talk to Stacy, just not about the illness. It was her problem, he decided. Hers and her lover's. Let them sort it out. What if it was HIV? The more he thought about it, the angrier he became, and he left work, telling them he wasn't feeling well. It was true, it just didn't show. Crap, crap, crap. Try to calmly discuss with her what her lover is doing for her that you are not doing. You will be tempted to express your resentment at how much she has hurt you. You may even feel the urge to tell her to leave so that you could find someone who will love and respect you for who you are. You may lose your patience, be disrespectful, and give her ultimatums. The consultant doubted that anything he said would get done, but he had to try. He took an oath. Basically, he knew Davis was going to leave his wife. It was just a matter of when. If you do any of these things, she will distance herself even more than she already has. It will get you nowhere. On the other hand, if you can convince her that her feelings are important to you. Now, why? Because she's not sure that you put her first in your life. Of course, he thought, Davis' wife didn't put him first either. With all that said, do you think you can do it? No way, no way. I don't know. I'm not sure it's worth it. I'll talk to you next week. There was a note on his pillow. I need time, it was written. I'll be back, I just don't know when. I love you, but I love him too. She didn't even bother to sign. Damn. Davis crumpled the note and threw it on the floor. He opened the closet and looked. Most of her clothes are still there, so that meant something. He supposed he could find a way to check her phone records, look at her text messages, but what would be the point? He knew where she was, even if he didn't know where she was. He went into the kitchen and took out the phone book from the top shelf above the stove. Goodwill? Yes, I'd like to arrange pickup. Household items? Yes, that's right, the whole house. You'll need a big truck. Mostly new, maybe 5 years old. Yes, everything. Can you do it today? No, tomorrow morning? Okay, here's my address. Just some identification. Okay, see you tomorrow, at 9 o'clock. His cell phone rang that night. It was her. Davis, she began, hesitantly. Are you with him? He asked. He could hear the hesitation in her silence. When are you coming home, Stacy? The house will be empty without you. And I don't know that. I just need time. With him. Please understand. If you love me, you will understand. Now he was silent. Selfish bitch, she gave up everything. Well, I'll give up everything too. Dave? Are you there, Dave? She sounded worried. Yes. Take all the time you need. I'll be waiting. Yeah, somewhere else, bitch. Thanks, Dave. It's okay, Stacy. You don't need to explain. Will you call tomorrow? I don't know. I'll try. Yeah. Goodbye, Stacy. Goodbye. Forever. Oh my God. He turned off his phone and went to the kitchen, took out black trash bags, and began to double bag his clothes. He was surprised when he found his old school sweater. He remembered Karen giving it back to him the night he joined the army. I'll wait, she said, but when he disappeared, she disappeared too. Later, for a long time, he immersed himself in whatever was assigned to him, quickly rising through the ranks until his tour of duty ended, and he survived Desert Storm with great frustration in life, not knowing where it went and who she was with. Davis went on his last date with a marriage counselor. At first, he thought it was strange to attend these sessions alone, but the doctor told him that although it was not common, it happened quite often. Quite often, anyway. There was a lot of pain. Davis, it may not be so much him, but the environment she and her lover share that makes him so attractive. They probably spend many hours each week alone with each other, where they give each other their full attention. This time and privacy is necessary to meet most of her important emotional needs. You may not have given her enough of your undivided attention in a calm and private environment, of course, assuming this is someone she is working with. The consultant wanted him to give her 6 months to reconnect with him. He tried without letting her know he knew. He offered short vacations, took her on trips to live in Tahoe, San Diego, San Francisco. But Stacy often refused him, and he knew that she was torn between two lovers, and when she infected him, he stopped having sex with her. He was getting impatient, and she was running out of time. She just didn't know it. Davis, if after 6 months she still hasn't changed, if she's still seeing him, then tell her you can't take this pain anymore and you're leaving your house. Don't talk to her, don't see her, do everything that the law requires, but no more. Let her remember you as a kind, caring person and how hard you tried to make her happy. I know it will be difficult, but thank God, your twins are already grown up. Live their own lives so you don't have to deal with it. Davis nodded his head, listening as best he could. She will remember me, all right. Kind, caring, trying to make her happy. Yes, of course. How to tell the girls was another matter. When you satisfy some of her needs and her lover satisfies others, she has the best of both worlds at your expense. Your complete break with her will break this impasse and give her lover a chance to win her. Let him try to satisfy the needs that you satisfied. If he pulls it off, your marriage will be over, but if he fails, which usually happens, it will give your wife a chance to test the stability of her relationship with him. When he is faced with the need to satisfy all of her needs, he may not be able to meet those, which you are satisfied with. It is very important that you leave before you do or say something that will upset her. You will not be able to compete with her lover forever. The consultant took a sip of coffee and offered more. Davis shook his head. No. If, after your breakup, she later comes to you asking for another chance at your marriage, you will need to determine whether she is still attracted to her lover. If there is evidence that her lover has indeed ruined everything with her, completely left her life, quit your job, moved to another state, married another woman, went back to your wife, or did something that convinces you that they will never see each other again, go back to your original plan and learn to meet her needs. This will never happen. This guy is too angry, even if he hides it well. But if she still tries to see her lover behind your back, I suggest you move away. There is a good chance that she is addicted to this man, and he is addicted to her. The only way to overcome this addiction is a period of abstinence. Often, moving is the only way to do it. He drank more coffee, knowing that this was their last meeting, whether Davis said anything or not. Even if your marriage improves, your wife will still want to remain friends with this man. This is an arrangement that few husbands can or should tolerate, and you will have to accept that your marriage is over unless you are willing to accept that she will change again. This marriage is completely over. Thank you, doctor. I really appreciate your help with this. You're not going to bring her back, are you? I tried everything you suggested, but like you just said, I can't take it anymore. I want to leave before I do something that could send me to jail. He might take her away. That's not a sign of weakness. I just don't want her anymore. The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. I'm sorry, Davis. Me too, doctor, me too. Thank you for your time. Goodbye, Davis. If you ever need my help, just call. Davis paid for this last session in cash, as he always did. Besides, he chuckled, plastic cards don't work anymore anyway. He spent the day wandering around the Del Amo Mall, not wanting to return to the loveless house and its ghostly memories. He still needed to call the twins and let them know, but that could wait until everything else was sorted out. Why rush before he was ready? He spent the night at the Torrance Marriott, hoping that he wouldn't accidentally run into Stacy and her lover. How inconvenient would that be, he thought. He didn't want to see the man's face anymore, but that would create a problem with his plans. He needed her to stay away. The next day, he returned to the house at 8 o'clock to make sure there was nothing left that he wanted to pick up at the last minute. Karen took his bags of clothes, his computer, all his electronics, and his model trains. He hadn't played with them in years, but they were a gift from his father, and he had no intention of losing them. Everything was sent to her home. For many nuns, the monastery was a thing of the past, and Karen was no exception. Modern church. There was a knock on the door. Hello? 4 men stood on the porch. Good morning, I'm Davis. You're from Goodwill, right? Okay, that was a stupid question. Yes, sir. We were told we had to take the whole house. That's right, take everything. I'm leaving and I'm leaving. So I'm leaving. Can I see your ID, please? Just for formalities. Need to be careful. Of course. Here. Davis pulled out his driver's license and handed it to the man, who checked the address with his work order. Thank you. Shall I take everything? Take everything. Take everything. 22 years of memories. Take everything. It took 5 hours, but the house was completely empty, down to the carpets. It reminded him of the day they moved in. The future seemed so bright, full of promise, but this time the truck was leaving with everything. He walked through the house one last time, closing the door on their life together, his house now as empty as his heart. Stacy left Jim's apartment and walked to her car. She had been standing there all week and was almost out of gas. Her personal time at work was over, and she had to return the next day. She drove down the boulevard to the station and tried to use her credit card, but it didn't work on the pump. She went into the store and asked for $20 for the 6th pump. The old man behind the counter told her that the card was not valid. What do you mean, not valid? Stacy looked at the man in bewilderment. Your card doesn't work. It doesn't work. Listen, Mrs., I have other people waiting here. Stacy ripped out the card and sat in the car, crying. How could he cancel the card so quickly? And then she realized that she had been absent for more than a week. The cards were canceled long before she decided to return to her husband. She was supposed to call, but she simply forgot about it for the first few days. Bank, oh my God, the bank. She drove to Bank of America and stood in line, hoping that her fears would not come true. Sorry, said the girl, but these accounts are all closed. When? Was all Stacy could say as she held onto the counter to keep from falling. Early last week, the 7th. Have a problem. Would you like to speak to the manager? No thanks. Stacy left the bank, defeated by her husband's actions. She thought that he would love her no matter what. Why doesn't he understand? It may not be entirely his fault, but he should be understanding. She has needs and desires that he could no longer satisfy. Jim was younger, better looking, and made her feel special. She took out her cell phone to call Jim, and although it turned on, there was no connection. He canceled her phone number too. She was alone, with an almost empty tank, no money and no phone. What to do? What to do? The car parked next to hers, and the young woman got out. Stacy saw a baby in the back seat of the car playing with a rattle. Excuse me, Stacy called. My phone isn't working, and I urgently need to call my sister. Can I borrow your phone, please? She could see that the woman was skeptical, but she gave her the phone anyway. Thank you, thank you. She quickly dialed her sister's number and waited anxiously for an answer. Hello? Luann, it's me. Listen, I'm in big trouble, and I'm stuck at the gas station on the corner of Sepulveda and El Segundo. Yeah, the Chevron station. Please come over as soon as possible. Stacy returned the phone to the young mother, thanked her again, and then pulled her car away from the pumps. Almost an hour passed before her sister arrived. What's wrong, Stacy? I've been worried to death. Is something wrong with Davis? And why are you here? Davis kicked me out. I have no cash and my cards don't work, and I have nowhere to stay. What do you mean he kicked you out? Davis loved her. He would never do that. He found out. Learned what? Oh God, you cheated? Damn, what made you do that? He loves you and gave you everything you ever wanted. Stupid bitch, can I stay at your place for a while? And I don't have gas. Can you fill me up? Please. Luann looked at her sister, disgusted by what she heard. What a fool, she thought. Okay, here, take my card and meet me at my house. Luan left her sister standing there at the gas station and drove away, shaking her head in disbelief. Davis, this is Luan. What's going on? I just talked to Stacy and I can't believe what she said. Please tell me there's some kind of mistake. Hey, Luan. No, it's not a mistake. I'm sorry, Luan. I've always loved you and Bill, but Stacy and we're done. This has been going on since at least Christmas. This time, his voice faded. Oh God, I'm so sorry, Davis. Did she say why? This time, oh shit, there was a break, the silence was deep, and Luan thought the call had been interrupted. No. Oh, Davis. Damn, Davis, I don't know what to say. I always thought my sister was a better person than this. Look, she's going to be staying with us for a few days until we figure it out. Can I call you if something happens? Yeah, Luan, I don't have a problem with you. I just can't believe she did this to me. I can't either. She didn't say anything. Did she at least apologize? I didn't ask, and I don't want to know. Look, Luan, I have to go. I have a flight to Vegas in a couple of days. I'll call you when I get back. Davis checked into MGM and went up to the 5th floor. He had a great view of the New York skyline across the street and shuddered as the roller coaster zipped past the man-made skyscrapers. He exchanged his denim shorts for brown trousers, put on a light yellow shirt, then a tweed jacket. He looked in the mirror and smoothed his hair back with his hand. Satisfied with what he saw, he made sure he had the room key in his wallet and went down to the buffet. Every time he came to Vegas with Stacy, the only thing he really liked was the buffet. Gambling was a tax on the stupid. Someone was paying for all these lights in the city, but it wasn't him. He enjoyed looking at all the ladies, and for the first time without feeling guilty. This time he ate slowly, trying to enjoy the food and the ladies in front of him. Every time before, Stacy wanted to play the slot machines so much that he always had to rush. Stacy was one of those players who kept playing until all the money ran out. She took the same chance with their marriage and lost. Davis rented a car and drove to the dam. That's what he always thought. The dam. It was incredible, and he never got tired of seeing it. One day, he parked the car and went to the hillside to collect stones, and when he returned home, he bought a book on geology and deciphered the hidden secrets they held. He stayed there for about half an hour until the heat began to bother him, and he headed back towards Vegas. Along the way, he surprised himself and headed to Pahrump, 60 miles to the west. He'd heard about sex spots in Nevada and never felt like visiting them, but now, it seemed like it took forever to get there, but he stuck to the speed limits. Davis found Sherry's place and saw Michelle standing there with others. She was relatively tall, 5 feet 6 inches, and a comfortable 34-28-34. He explained his situation to her and asked if she was ready to work with him. Finding out that she agreed to his proposal, he gave her $2,000 and followed her to her room. They called it the girl experience, and he hoped it would be worth every penny. He waited in the restaurant and Michelle came in, modestly dressed in clothes suitable for church. He stood up and pulled out a chair for her. "Hi," he said, more shyly than he thought he would be. "Hi. I missed you," she said. "How was your day?" She knew how to listen and felt that he needed listening more than most of her dates. There were these stupid Japanese contracts that had to be canceled because of the tsunami, right? And they said they could still meet production quotas, but they had already missed 2 deadlines, so it was time to cut their losses and get production back here. It's such a shame. Have you ever been there? A few times. It's crazy out there, so many people and all the lights at night. It's like Disneyland on steroids. Over dinner he talked, and she listened and found him quite funny, almost wishing it was a real date and not what it inevitably was. Her husband wouldn't appreciate it. And then he says, "What do you mean it wasn't Godzilla? And we were arrested." She laughed, honestly this time. "You're very funny. I enjoy being with you, really. What do you want for dessert?" "I need to watch my figure, but I'll share." "Okay, you choose." "Chocolate cream pie." "Great." She fed him one spoon at a time, sometimes licking the whipped cream and then bringing it to his lips. He was glad that the disease transmitted by his wife had been cured many months ago. He would feel terrible if he did anything wrong with this young woman trying so hard to please him. "Come on," she said, standing up. For a moment he didn't understand what she meant, completely immersed in the illusion. She took his hand, and he remembered, immediately excited. He was ashamed of his body's reaction to her touch. "Come on, I'll make you forget about your problems." "What are you going to do now?" Lewin asked her confused, out-of-the-way sister. "I don't know. How long can I stay here? How could he do this to me? After all these years? Only a couple of days. I told Bill that Davis was away on business, and you decided to visit. That's all I can do. If he finds out, you'll have to leave. He's unapologetic about these things. You'll have to come home." "Okay, I understand. I'll try to think of something. Will you come with me?" "Listen, I talked to Davis after I left you at the gas station. He left town, said something about going to Vegas." "He never goes to Vegas. Why would he? Oh, damn, he took all our money. I have to go home. Please come with me." It was the longest half-hour of her life, trying to drive home as quickly as possible, and it seemed like all the traffic lights in the city were against her. A few minutes after arriving, her sister parked behind her car, and as they approached the house, they realized something was wrong. The front door was open, and the house was dark until they walked inside. The house was empty. Even the curtains and blinds were removed. Only the setting sun provided a little light and warmth, but nothing. Stacy collapsed on the carpet, sobbing. "Oh God, what do I do now? Doesn't he understand that I love him?" Lewin called her brother-in-law, but the phone went to voicemail. Davis was thorough, she thought, wondering how badly her sister had ruined her marriage. Apparently, completely. "Listen, we can't stay here. Let's go." She almost said, "Let's go home," but knew that wouldn't be true for Stacy. Once Bill found out what she had done, she would leave, sister or not, and she wasn't going to ruin her own marriage for her adulterous sister. No, it's better that she stay one more night and then leave. She could always tell Bill that she didn't know. Out of habit, Stacy locked the door when they left and, taking one last look at what had once been her home, followed Luann home, trying to drive through her tears. "Bill, Stacy will stay the night, but she'll be leaving tomorrow." Luann wondered how honest to be with her husband. He and Davis had a little argument. "Davis, you're kidding. This guy loves her." Bill put some more mashed potatoes on his plate. He worked at an oil refinery, and no matter how much he ate, it had no effect on him. "Well, something happened. Gravy, act normal. Okay, why don't I call him?" He reached for the bowl. "I tried, but his phone is off or something," she said, passing the butter and rolls across the table. "It's not like him. It's weird." Bill had been quiet all evening, glancing at his sister from time to time, wondering what was going on. It wouldn't do any good, he knew, if Stacy was here and not at home. He went outside and took out his phone, calling his brother-in-law. The call went through. "Hey, Bill. How are you doing?" Davis sounded almost normal, but he never lost his calm then. He is the most balanced person I know. "What's going on, Davis? Stacy is here and—" "It's good and amazing. I didn't think she'd leave him." "What are you talking about? Leaving who? What the hell?" "I don't know. Some guy she's been sleeping with since Christmas, maybe before." "Damn it. Are you sure?" There was a pause, the silence was deep, and Bill thought the call had been interrupted. "Yes, I'm sure," she confessed. "I'll throw her out of here right now." The veins in Bill's head began to pound. "Do what you want, but as a favor, let her stay the night, okay? It's late, and I know the only other place she can go is to him." "Where are you anyway?" "In Vegas. Gambled. Not very well." "What do you mean?" "Oh shit," he thought. "What did Davis do?" "I lost everything, Bill. I guess I'm not as good a poker player as I thought." "Anything left?" "Enough to get home, but no home to return to." How much, Davis? How much did you lose? I don't know, almost $1 million. You lost a damn $1 million. Bill sat down on the porch step, unable to believe his ears. Yes, that's probably true. So what? I lost my marriage. The rest is just money and things. Are you okay? Jesus Christ, Davis lost $1 million. I don't know, Bill. I don't know. Probably not. Hey, I went to one of those brothels. Cost me $2,000, but it was worth it. I forgot how much fun sex can be, I mean. Oh yeah, Bill. What? Don't kiss her. She got a disease from her lover. I wasn't going to tell her, but I don't want you or Luen to get sick. Damn. Look, call me tomorrow, okay? I'll probably be back, but I'll call. Bill sat on the porch, still not believing what he heard. He jumped up and ran into the house. If Davis hasn't told her, I'm definitely not going to. Hey, baby, hi. Jim, I'm back for good. About, the college student didn't like what he heard. Stacy was funny, desperate, willing to do anything to be with him, and the gifts she gave him were first class, but to have her there all the time. What do you mean? Davis is gone. The house is empty. The money is gone. She collapsed on the tired sofa. Looking around with her tired eyes, her apartment no longer seemed as glamorous as it had in recent months. Listen, I have to go to class. I'll be back around 3, then we'll talk. He kissed her on the cheek and left. Stacy walked into the bedroom and lay down on the bed, placing her hand over her eyes, trying to block out the world. The room smelled of sex, sweat, and weed. What was she thinking? Around noon, she fell asleep, exhausted. What's wrong with you, Jim? You look like you've seen a ghost. Peter handed his friend a beer. This old woman I'm sleeping with. Her husband kicked her out, and she wants to stay with me. She's not that old. Plus, she's in pretty good shape for her age. How old was she? 50. 42. 42? Damn, man, that's still old, though. Stacy Hill, you got a subpoena. Trembling, Stacy reached out and took the envelope. How could he do this to me? How could he throw away all the years we spent together? It's just, I don't know what it is. She sat there, looked at the envelope, and then put it in her purse. Whatever it is, it can wait. I need this job now. The rest of her day passed surprisingly quickly, and she returned to Jim's apartment at 6. She was surprised to see Peter there. Hey, Stacy, Jim told me about your problem, and we came up with a solution. About, if you want to stay, you'll have to share. Share? God, he thought, how stupid is this woman? Yes, share, and now it's my turn. Do you need anything else, Mr. Hill? The waiter stood there, taking the sunlight into his eyes so as not to shine on the guest. Not yet, thank you. When Miss Crosby arrives, please call me. Yes, sir. The man placed rum and orange in front of Davis. Hill gave him 50, and the man's smile lit up like the Jamaican sun still shining on his face. Thank you, sir. Hill fell asleep in the warm sun until a slight jolt woke him. Davis, wake up, Davis. Karen, you've arrived. He sat down with the biggest smile on his face. Are you hungry? The food here is great. No, I ate on the plane. Oh my God. No, it was first class. Thanks for that. Are you going to divorce her? Does it matter? Of course it does. Yes, I should have done this already. I know, it's okay. She reached out her hand and squeezed it tightly. Karen placed her cell phone in his hand. I'll wait, she laughed. You? He asked, hoping. Yes, I'm gone. They released me from my vows. I'm here. You're here. We're here. She smiled. Are you okay? He asked, looking at his future. The best. She answered, thanking God for what she had done. Subscribe to our channel so that your love doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think click to the next one. Click to the next one. Click to the